Welcome back to the garage. This is part 2 of the Harbor Freight sandblasting cabinet setup. If you missed part 1, I'll put it up here in the corner somewhere. We're back at the abused, poor, dirty old workbench. I mean, just look at the state of it. I'll paint it someday. But we're back at the workbench to work on the gravity-fed siphon mod for this cabinet. These are the basic parts you need. Now it's December of 2021 at the time of this video. So all of this cost me about 60 bucks with tax. Inflation's high, supply chain issues, and whatever. Maybe if I'd done this back in 19 or 20, it wouldn't have cost so much. Maybe if I'd gone to everyone's favorite Rainforest store, clicked a few buttons, and had some poor, overworked, and underpaid delivery driver throw it at my front door in a couple of days, I could have saved a few bucks. But I digress. I bought local. You do you. These are the same basic parts you'll find on many YouTube videos on the gravity-fed siphon mod. There are many like it. This one is mine. Watch a few of these videos and just kind of see what people do. I'm going to assemble this and see what works for me. I may make changes later. That's just one of the things you got to do is find out what works for your setup. Now I haven't quite decided if this 1-inch mounting plate is going to go on the outside of the door or on the inside. Seen it both ways, works both ways, and I'll figure it out along the way. So we start with the 1-inch mounting plate with a 1x3 nipple to connect to a 1-inch to 3/4 reducer. Some people say just use a 90-degree here. Some people will put in this 1-inch plug at the bottom so you can dump your media out the bottom. Me personally, I don't know if I'm going to use this. It's already got a door on the hopper to just dump. So maybe I will, maybe I won't. It's one of those things I'm just going to have to use it and find out. Then we go to a 3/4 nipple to a 3/4 T. And in my case, I chose, maybe poorly, this one's going to be close, to do a 3/4 to the 3/4 ball valve. Yeah, it's going to be close. Depending on which way that lands when it's tightened up, that ball valve it might be okay. I think the hopper's got enough height on it. And then at the very end, we have a 3/4 to a 3/8 air tube. And that is the basic assembly. I will, of course, disassemble, put some Teflon tape on it, and reassemble properly. There's a couple different ways to do this metering valve. I chose a ball valve because a lot of guys are just saying, just open it up wide and it'll work great. Close it to keep the moisture out. There's some of them that have little holes drilled in it that gives you a different amount of air depending on how screwed or unscrewed the cap is. I personally don't like that setup. This is just way easier. But this costs you. This is like 15 bucks at the store, so make the choice based on your budget. Now before I install that or even worry about that any further, I have to get the rest of the pieces of the puzzle together. Now this is my first air tool setup, so I'm going to make mistakes along the way. That's okay for me. Don't take any of this as advice. This is just my setup and what I'm trying to figure out. I'm going with a couple of 25-foot hoses, just whatever Home Depot had, using the quick disconnect setup. Got a couple of these fittings. This is the South, and I may be just a simple country sysadmin, but I know that moisture and media don't mix very well. So I've got a few different forms of dryers here. This is China's finest, but it's highly rated, so we'll see how that works out. And a little desiccant can to put closer to the cabinet. I think I'll start with just having this wall mounted for now, just to have the water separators here and a pressure regulator close to the cabinet. The next best thing would be to have the regulator actually attached to the cabinet. That's a future thing. This will work for now. Back on the dust collection side of things, I did just pick up one of those dust toppers from Home Depot with the 5-gallon bucket. It was an off-the-shelf solution. Yeah, it was kind of expensive for what it does. Yeah, you can get a cheaper setup by doing it yourself. This was just quick and easy for me. Now for the air compressor, I just went with the Home Depot Husky brand. It's a 27-gallon. These are the basic specs. A lot of people on YouTube have their own setups and their own opinions. This is probably at the low end of what will work for a blasting cabinet. I think I can make it work for my purposes. I don't intend to be sitting here blasting for hours at a time. This thing has about a 50% duty cycle, so it doesn't need to be running more than 30 minutes out of an hour. And I think this will be okay just to start out with for my purposes. We're down to everyone's favorite part now, which is finding the leaks and stopping them. So I've got this guy in place. Turns out the quick disconnect that comes with it is made of plastic. This is absolute junk. It does not seal. It leaks at the plastic fittings. Never use those. If they are given to you, just throw them away. Current problem is that it's leaking right here at the gun. I've got this torqued down about as well as it can be with this tiny little Phillips, and it's still just blasting air. Not quite sure what to do about that one other than to get a different barbed fitting maybe. I don't know. And after a whole lot of trial and error, this is my first air tool setup. That compressor's about to kick back in. I have finally figured out most of the leaks. Yeah, it's set. I have one last leak right here at this fitting, and sometimes this one. I think these are just really cheap and crappy barbed fittings, or this is really cheap and crappy hose, or these are really cheap and crappy hose clamps. Maybe all three, but I've stripped out two of these already, just trying to tighten them down to stop this leak. And maybe you can hear it's still there. So this is like a 99% solution right now. So I think I'm ready to do a test blast and see how this guy works. You can see I've got the siphon, the factory siphon put in there. I'm gonna give it a go and just see how it works and see if it's as bad as everyone says it is, because me personally, I have no basis for comparison. So when I actually install this guy, I got too many projects, wow. When I actually go to install this guy, I'll have something to actually compare it to. So let's hook up the vacuum system to this, add some media, and just do a test piece, see what happens. For the inaugural run of this thing, I'm gonna just load it up with about 5 pounds of number 10 glass bead. Seems to be a pretty standard abrasive. And let's just see what we can do. All right, respirator on. Tool pressure set to about 75 psi. Sacrificial test object is just a random wrench that was in a bunch of flea market tools. Let's see what we can do. Well, for a first run, that wasn't bad at all. I totally understand now when people complain about the media surging. I totally get that now. But despite that, with this such a small workpiece, it was no problem for me. Yeah, that worked pretty great. Now, granted, this tool wasn't absolutely the worst. Didn't have any paint on it. It was just corrosion from sitting around. But yeah, that's for my first foray into sandblasting, I like it. Well, for a first attempt at using a blasting cabinet, that went really well. I was expecting the compressor to turn on at least once, but it didn't. Go figure. I think I'm going to call this the end of part 2. I didn't expect it to be a 3-parter, but here we are. I personally want to get a few more miles on this cabinet and just understand its limitations for my needs. I do have a couple of projects over there I want to throw in here and clean up and just see how it works, but I do still have that gravity-fed siphon mod that I do intend to actually install it. I just want to understand what the alternative is for myself first. Well, that's it for now. If you like what I'm doing, please leave me a like and a comment below. If you're not subscribed, you might consider subscribing. I do have a few interesting things that come up here in the garage. But that's it for now, and I'll see you on the next one.
Okay, after putting a few miles on it, I can tell you the gravity feed mod will be absolutely superior.
Well, it's like they say, no matter how hard you try to seal it, you're gonna have some leakage. Well, I tried.